Hey everybody, Daniela here. Today I want to talk about making assumptions and how that negatively impacts our lives. So I really wanted to bring up this topic for one specific reason. Most of our suffering in life is because of false assumptions that we make. We take a scenario and we make our assumptions from it, and then from it we build an entire reality in our brain that isn't necessarily real. So I really wanted to talk about this and how often we do this. So I'll give an example. Say we're picking up our kids from school and we wave and we say hi to that mom over there that's saying, and she just looks at us very rudely, turns away and goes. Now in my brain, I am now gonna make a million assumptions. She doesn't like me, she's mad at me, she hates me, I did something to her. I'm having all of these things in my brain that are running around. And now my brain is going to go with whichever concept seems the most likely or the most true, the most one I identify with, right? So she's jealous of me, she doesn't like me, whatever that concept is. And now I've created a whole scenario in my head that is not real. I have no idea what that mom is going through. I have no idea why she gave me a dirty look, if she even saw me. And so I want to talk about how we can stop making these assumptions. So oftentimes we make these assumptions. Now I'm angry at this person, so now I react angry to this person. So the next time I see this person, I'm rude to them, or I don't speak to them, or I give them a dirty look, and now they're like, and they make an assumption in their head, Danielle doesn't like me. So now they're being rude to me, and now I have this mortal enemy that literally came from what? A very, very silly little thing where the person probably didn't even see me. So we're commanded, number one, to judge our fellow Jew favorably, right? This is such a huge deal. We have to judge our fellow Jew favorably. And the biggest reason for this is that it avoids assumptions in a negative way. So if I see this mom and she's rude to me and I make the conscious decision in my mind, that is not personal. I don't know, what's going on. I don't know if she's having a bad day. Perhaps she's having a bad day. Perhaps she didn't see me. Perhaps, something just happened to her and she's got something going on with her. I'm going to judge her favorably and I'm going to go on with my day. Now, I'm not sitting with a bunch of anger inside of me. I'm not going to be rude to her the next time I see her, and I'm not going to possibly damage an entire relationship based on an assumption in my brain. So I want to talk about in detail, how do we make the conscious decision to stop making assumptions? So when something happens, we immediately judge it, and all the scenarios in our imagination drop into our imagination. So the first thing we need to acknowledge is that is our imagination. It's not real. It's our own, database from our brain, from all of our past experiences. So if we're somebody that maybe has experienced trauma, or somebody who, has had, maybe a history of having a rough time with friends or whatever that is, we are going to make an assumption based on the data that's in our brain, right? And so that data isn't necessarily true. And when we make the decision to believe this data, when we make the decision to go with it, we are causing ourselves pain. So the person who didn't see us or was having a bad day or, was fighting with their husband or whatever was going on, they are going on with their day exactly the way it was. And we are over here miserable, because we are making the assumption that this person did it on purpose, or this person doesn't like me, whatever it is. So I want to challenge everybody to stop making assumptions. So when something happens, it's our obligation to ask questions to get clarity. Asking questions takes bravery. Making assumptions does not. And so I want us to really start reprogramming ourselves to be more brave. And so, walk up to Sally that just said, that just gave me a dirty look and say, hey, Sally, I waved at you and I saw that, you didn't respond. Is there something wrong? We're going to judge her favorably. And right then Sally's going to say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I didn't even see you. I'm having this horrible day. My mom was on the phone calling me and the kids were fighting in the car. And immediately we are going to know without a shadow of a doubt that what Sally did to me was not personal. It had nothing to do with me. It was simply Sally's own world, what was going on, and we have all been that world. And so we can save ourselves so much suffering, so much heartache by not making assumptions. never make assumptions. So instead, we choose to judge favorably, and secondly, we ask questions to gain clarity. This is such an important thing to learn. We have to ask questions. We have to say, why did this happen? Hey, you seem upset. Have I done something to offend you? This takes humility. This takes bravery to come up and ask a person instead of just assuming they don't like me, or they're judging me, or they're jealous of me, or whatever thoughts come into our brain. Our little imaginations can go crazy on us. So I really want to challenge everyone this year to stop making assumptions. Ask questions, get clarity, and judge favorably. This can eliminate, I would say, probably 70% of miscommunications between people, between our fellow Jews, between our bosses, between our friends, between all of these things. When we don't make assumptions, we make a commitment to get clarity before we judge. And even then, we judge favorably. And we avoid all of the jumble that goes along. How many times have we walked into a room and we look around, we scan the room, and a couple people maybe look at us, they don't know us, they give us a weird look, and we're like, you're not welcome here, you don't fit in. All of these assumptions start popping into our brain before we've actually even experienced what's going to happen in the room. So oftentimes our suffering is self-induced by our own imaginations, by our own assumptions. And so I challenge everyone to stop making assumptions, to get clarity. When our husband walks in the door, and he's rough, and maybe he puts a book down hard, and he does this and he does that. Don't take it personal. Wow, maybe he's having a bad day. Maybe this has been rough for him. And so we come up and say, hey, you seem overwhelmed. Is there anything I can do for you? And immediately you're going to see, such a bad day, it was this, it was that. But if we come taking it personally, hey, why are you being rude? You didn't even speak to me when you walked in. We took it personally. Now, someone who's already having a bad day is now going to explode at us. And now we're going back and forth simply because we made an assumption. We chose to take something personal. So remembering nothing is personal. Do not make assumptions. We do not know what the other person's going through. We do not know what the other person's thinking. And to judge them favorably if we're not able to get the answers, and to ask those questions if we're able to get those answers. Hey, hey Sarah, I saw you and you didn't wave at me, or this you did this and it's out of character for you, and I was just curious, I didn't want to take it personally. I wanted to know, is there a reason that you chose not to come to my event, or is there a reason that you said this? Whatever it is, we need to have bravery, guys. We have to have the bravery to come and speak and communicate clearly with people and avoid that. We also need to teach this skill to our children. We need to teach our children to not take things personally and to ask questions, to get clarity, because then they will establish that, right? When our kid comes running in the door and they've had a horrible day and they throw their backpack on the ground, Mom, it's not personal. Child's having a bad day. So we want to always remember that what the other person's actions are not personal. We can't make assumptions. We need to ask questions to get clarity, and we need to judge them favorably as we would want to be judged, because we all have those same bad days. We all have those same bad moods, those same, I don't want to talk, or I don't want to say hello to somebody, or, maybe we're just completely emotionally exhausted and we see a friend and we kind of look at the ground and hope they don't notice us because we just don't have the energy to give right now, right? And so we want to make sure that we are not taking things personally. We are not making assumptions, and we are always judging people as favorably as we can. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope people, will start to take a little bit of inventory of when our feelings are hurt. What are we doing? Are we making assumptions? Are we creating this fabrication? I can have someone be rude to me, and I can say, see, they don't like me, they're judging me, they're doing this, they're doing that. And right then, I've already created an entire scenario in my brain. And then when I come in contact with them, I'm going to defend my scenario. I'm going to defend my little reality and my little world in my head that doesn't even really exist. I'm going to defend it. And then I'm going to mistreat that person. And that person's going to treat me back. And I'm going to continue to cycle back and forth and back and forth and back and forth in a battle that never had to happen because it originated in my imagination based on assumptions that I made and me not judging someone favorably. I hope this is helpful. If anyone has any questions on how they can change or maybe a specific assumption or taking things personally, I would love to hear more questions and things in the comments or topics you'd like to hear. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye.